It's Thursday. It's been a really busy news week, really busy week in politics. Anyway, so this short stream, will be about the latest, another one, really. Another one from the Reform Party, for the Reform Party. Robert Jenrick joins Reform UK after being sacked by Conservatives. This one has unfolded in quite the sort of spectacular, strange manner. Why is that? Well, somebody got caught, somebody got chucked, and then somebody had to do a quick reframe and quickly join a press conference and get endorsed, if you like. It's a reputational thing. You've got to move at such speed, and that's what's happened here. They've had to move at such speed because what's transpired is this. Let's break it down. Let's first get some news up, and I'll use my ground news summary. Okay, so on Thursday, that's today, Robert Jenrick joined Reform UK. It's happened. Unveiled by leader Nigel Farage at a Westminster press conference. Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch suspended Robert Jenrick and removed the whip after citing irrefutable evidence. Irrefutable evidence. He was plotting to defect, with party sources noting documents including a speech and media plan left lying around. Robert Jenrick said failures on immigration and justice drove his move, criticizing rising migration, court backlogs, overflowing prisons, and a small army, adding both Labour Party and Conservative Party broke Britain. Nigel Farage welcomed Jenrick and thanked Kemi. Well, when he welcomed him, it was a bit awkward because at the press conference he calls for him, and he doesn't quite turn up on time. But okay, fine. So Nigel Farage welcomed him. Jenrick, and thanked Kemi Badenoch, saying he would buy Kemi lunch next week, and highlighting Jenrick's 60% approval rate as a boost to realign the centre-right. A string of Tory defections has bolstered Reform UK, with Lord Offord, Nadeem Zahawi, Dame Andrea Jenkins, Jonathan Gullis, and Nadine Dorris joining, while Kevin Hollinrake called Jenrick's move treacherous. Oh, it's all treacherous. It's what politics is these days. Whoopsies, just got some external sound there. So, we're going to talk about this. Of course, we are. We're going to talk about it in a few different ways, but I just thought I'd have some visuals for you from the press conference there. As you see, Jenrick gave his speech, and then they did a press conference, and it was the press conference style, and I think they're going to be weekly. I was going to say they're going to be weekly now, but just let me know in the comments if this is actually something that's been going on for a while, that Reform have been doing a press conference every week. It's very Trump-like, isn't it? This sort of regular dialogue with the press. We all know Nigel Farage knows media. Nigel Farage pays a lot of attention to the media strings in this political game. So apparently Nigel Farage has said that there will be a Labour defection next week. It's like a soap opera now. It's every week there's going to be something. So this week we've had Nadeem Zahawi, and now we've had Robert Jenrick. But I think maybe this Robert Jenrick one was a little premature because he got caught. And he got caught, apparently, reportedly, by sources within who caught him by finding documents lying around that detailed his departure and his defection. Kemi Badenoch then put out quite the scathing statement that some described as Kemi on Zoom in her room. Well, that's me describing it that way. I thought it was a pretty good statement from a political perspective, but let's look that up quickly. So we have so much going on over here. You see, there are so many ways to look at this. And what I would sort of say, which I'll say at the end, I'll conclude at the end, but just off the top, the fact that people are impressed by defections is really interesting. On the other side of that, though, is any new party is relying on obviously new talent, but if they know their weakness is not having anyone within the ranks who has experience serving in government, then they are essentially relying on defections. So defections will happen. I think the issue here, though, is, and we'll get to this later in the conclusion, the issue here, though, is that you've got this centre-right party that is essentially replacing it's replacing the opposition, the other, the one of the two dominant parties. And the reasons they're giving, the things that are sort of amplifying their let's say, what do you call it, momentum, is because people are so dissatisfied with the existing centre right party. And it's riding on the reality of that dissatisfaction with the centre right party that this new party is building. And so when you've got defections from that party, that's why it's it's seen in a negative way, not necessarily impressive way. Like I said, of course, if you require, and Nigel Farage is using this talking point, he's saying more than once, our weakness is we don't have anyone with experience in government, so we need defections, essentially, is what he's saying. But defections from a party that you have said that, has broken Britain and broken the country, you're getting people from that party. At the sort of start of these statements, you hear these defections, these defectors saying, like Robert Jenrick said, I apologize for what part he had to play. I mean, what else are they going to say? Of course, they're going to make their statements. Of course, they're going to have all of that to say in order to appease criticism, and there will be plenty. But let's have a quick look at this statement that Ken. Let's just quickly show you now.
This morning, I removed the Conservative whip from Robert Jenrick after dismissing him from the shadow cabinet. I was very sorry to be presented with clear, irrefutable evidence, not just that he was preparing to defect, but he was planning to do so in the most damaging way possible to the Conservative Party and his shadow cabinet colleagues. It is my responsibility to protect our party, and faced with that information, I took the only decision that any responsible leader could. Because the British public are tired of political psychodrama. So am I. They saw too much of it in the last government. They're seeing too much of it in this government. I will not repeat those mistakes. When I was elected leader, I committed to doing politics differently. Disloyalty and dishonesty undermine trust in politics. They're also disrespectful to our party members, our councillors, MPs, and most of all, voters. You all deserve better. Conservatives suffered a heavy defeat in 2024. That was painful, but we are rebuilding. with strong principles, clear plans, and with a serious team united around a shared purpose. When individuals choose to walk away from that effort for personal ambition, that tells you nothing about the Conservative Party and everything you need to know about them. There will be more to say, and I know a lot of commentary about this decision, but I want you all to be in no doubt. It's a time of global uncertainty. I am focused on holding the government to account, ensuring they are acting in the national interest, and that Conservatives deliver a proper plan for a stronger economy, stronger borders, and a stronger Britain.
So the key messages for the Tories from Kemi: stronger economy, stronger borders, stronger Britain. Okay, so I think I've repeated those correctly. The point is being made that this is a career decision. This is a personal gain decision. And we all knew that after Robert Jenrick lost the leadership contest and he's been found almost just very distasteful content for a politician from the Conservative Party, perfect for reform, but it hasn't sat well with many. And so it's as if he was already designing his departure for quite some time. These things are never an overnight decision. They're ones that are well, sometimes they can be. This one I think was probably a little bit or a lot bit calculated. They fit quite well. Gosh, looking at these suits, aren't you just craving something new, something different? But this is politics. This is politics. We have a right now that is divided. I don't know how many are feeling super satisfied with reform who might have supported them before. On TikTok, I get plenty of pushback and comments saying, vote reform, what are you? You scared now? You scared now? Why would I be scared? Why would you say that? Why should I be scared? And then some will say, you need to go back home. But there's still an awful lot of people who will make the excuses for reform. And the sad thing is they will be disappointed. They will. And Scepter, you are active in the comments. I can't show them all on screen. So thanks for that. So we have more defections from the Conservative Party, from the Tories. I think that's 6 MPs now. Some have argued and press have questioned, saying, well, if you wanted to do this, then surely the honourable thing would have been to stand for election again as a Reform MP, but you've not done that. I think that's the bit that's actually quite what's the word? It's not just it's not disingenuous, it's almost the opposite of it's the opposite of what political leadership should be, especially when you are elected for office. If you are elected for office as a Conservative MP and you decide to switch, it doesn't matter what party it is actually, but if you decided to switch, the right thing is to stand again, but that doesn't happen. The rules of the game are such that you can carry on in office. I know other MPs have done this, but I think the rules should be, well, if you're going to switch parties, then you need to stand again, because people don't just vote for you, they vote for the party that you are aligned with, whether It's Labour, Conservatives, or even if you're an independent. If you're an independent and then suddenly decided to join the Green Party, people would have questions, and I think there'd be this sort of sense of betrayal from constituents who have voted for you, who supported you whilst you were in that party, and then you've just flipped without warning. Of course, if you want to flip and you want to be strategic and it's a career choice, then it will be without warning. But there lies the issue. It's for personal gain. If it was for the benefit of the people that you represent, your constituents, then it should be a transparent process. But it isn't, because this is all about careers. This is all about politicians, career politicians, and um, them wanting to get ahead, professional gain for influence. It's all incredibly disingenuous. But there lies the deal, the real the deal. It is the deal that sort um of this style of politics that we have. It's not even a result of the fact that, we have first past the post. I don't think it's to do with our model, our electoral model at all. I think it's the result of new media, social media, a new style of political leader, the attention economy, how people respond to political talking points, how they rally in the comment section, how they rally digitally and then offline, and how they take that community and that sort of lobbying power offline. That's essentially molding politics now. And what Farage does really well is he uses that, he leverages that, and he's attracting controversial voices. And he knows, because he has watched Trump's elections and he's been watching media and just politics generally very closely. He himself has said, he reads all the papers, and he's um, really um, a massive advocate for engaging with the media in politics. And so he knows how to play the game. And so I think he knows that if he's established a party like Reform with controversial takes, slogans, talking points, he's going to continue and going to be able to continue in that vein with controversial voices that can really carry all of those talking points, the slogans, who can represent it, who can be advocates for his whatever his policies end up being. At the moment, we know there is a massive focus always on stop the boats, on immigrants. We also know this is a conversation I've been having around other topics that are quite controversial on social media. The sort of key voice, the key sort of uh, advocate, the spokesperson may not be the one saying things explicitly, but if you allow your other representatives, your supporters, to do the talking, you can allude to those points, those controversial points, those xenophobic points, even racist points. You can allow them, by allowing them, by almost encouraging your representatives of the party, your members, your voters, to continue to engage in these kinds of problematic conversations, the problematic discourse online. By allowing it, you're encouraging it. You've not asked people quite, flat out, you need to stop. You're not calling it out, and just by allowing it, you are sending a very strong message to your new member base, your new voter base, that this is the culture, this is what we're about. And all of that is being banked in the sense that he's banking on that level of controversy because he knows that's what's going to win uh, votes, it's what's going to get eyeballs. You've got to have this shock jock style of politics to get people voting and at election time going to the polls. So it's not going to the polls, going to the voting booths, but it's going to be quite the journey. Obviously, you've got the May elections, but then you've got, you could have a general election come sooner. And I think there's a lot more that's to come. It's a circus. We know that. That's what politics has become now. But I don't think, even with my real dissatisfaction with all political parties and the current political system and just the system generally, uh, I don't favor any one party or any one political leader or ideology. What I will say though is that reform, if you're fed up, reform is not your only alternative. And I just, there was a really great recommendation. Oh gosh, I can't check my Kindle app. There was was it Audible? There was a great recommendation that came through on TikTok, and let me see, can I go to my Audible? Will it let me do that? One second. And it's quite an interesting book. What is it called? That I'm quite looking forward to digging into. And it is not showing up for me, which is not great. Let's see if it comes up on my. Anywho, it's a political book, and it's, if I can remember off the top of my head, it was a recommendation that came in the TikTok comments. And if I can remember off the top of my head, it's by a political insider, and it's talking about lobbying, the money, the capitalism behind politics and UK politics, and it's talking about reform in particular. So I want to dig into that. I can't remember if it's been downloaded to my Audible, been delivered or something, but I'm going to dig into it and I'm going to talk about it over here. And there's more like of that kind of thing on the way. I've got another couple of books coming through with so much uncertainty and so much upheaval and volatility in the world. I find myself wanting to go back into history to look at the examples already gone, the case studies that we have that can give us clues to understand what's going on now. Gosh, I sound like Nigel Farage, because Nigel Farage is also an advocate of reading old historical, political books, and he says that he learns a lot from them. Oh gosh, why do I sound like him? I don't want that to be the case. Like I said, I'm not a stan for any political leader. What I will do though is I will acknowledge any strength or any sort of good strategy, and vice versa. So at the moment, I thought Kemi Badenoch did a really good job in being very direct and saying, this is BS, I'm not going to accept it, and you shouldn't accept it either, and this is not the party that I want, and I don't want any more of the psychodrama. Nigel Farage is doing Nigel Farage weekly press conferences. He's got these big names, he's got these fancy sort of suits, and he's got these journalists who are frothing at the mouth to get time with him and these press conferences to answer questions. He does it really well. He really does. And I noticed Nadeem Zahawi was trying to be a little bit like Trump, where he was telling off journalists. It's just become a similar circus. But I think in order to sort of stand out in this circus, you're going to have to be a bit of a performer. And I think they are going to impress their base, even if many critics will point to the fact that defections aren't honourable, even though Kemi's been doing better recently. And then, you've got other parties like the Green Party coming up in popularity. People will still, because, politics has now become about the success of the headlines in one week. So if in one week, one party or one movement has gotten like lots of headlines, lots of support, the membership has gone up, it can really change things. And it's doesn't exactly reflect reality, does it? It doesn't. It's almost like, which trend can we trigger this week? And the trend triggers momentum, and then before you know it, we're somewhere else. And that's why voters unfortunately have short memories. You forget about uh, things that politicians and leaders have done that you really shouldn't forget that they've done and said about each other. It's just short memories. Okay, I'm going to go now because Traitors is on. And why am I here? I'm here because I'm trying to commit to a live stream at least every other day, if not every day. Come on now, I've got a 9 to 5. I'm a single parent and I'm studying. I'm doing my master's, so there's a lot going on. But consistent content here. You've got shorts, so you always tune into the YouTube shorts. I've got standalone videos that I upload as well. I did a recent one on sovereignty. That was an interesting one. Gosh, there's this thing about I keep hearing about. Okay, so I keep hearing. It's the last thought. I keep hearing this. Oh, we take Venezuela. Oh, Greenland, and then there's Iran, and it's almost like sovereignty and borders just don't matter. They're irrelevant now. Well, it's irrelevant. It's selective. It's selective relevance, because for others, sovereignty and borders are everything, and that's all that counts. But when it comes to other people's countries and their sovereignty and their borders, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. So yeah, I've been having those thoughts as well. So yeah, there are some standalone videos that you can tune into, and of course the streams, the longer form. I've got my podcast here as well called Systems and Questions, and it's where I use my systems thinking background to reflect on really complex things going on in the world, and we can untangle it a bit. And I cover media, even sport, politics, and definitely AI. Look at how that intersects with most things. And you see over here on my screen to the right, it says Serena's Playbook, and that's my channel. That's essentially for leveling up your strategic thinking as a content creator, entrepreneur, brand, business, communications student, student of media, a PR, because I've got 20 plus years in comms and media and PR. So I also use that angle, and it's growing. It's growing. Woohoo! I'm very pleased about that. And I do some cross posting as well. So do check those out. But for now, thank you so much for tuning in. If you've subscribed, you're awesome. Thanks for helping my channel. I am not any sort of, let's say, aligned with any ology. I like to zoom out as much as possible. But what I ain't is a hater. I'm not a hater. I'm not here to discriminate, and I don't expect that in the comments. But seriously, like, it's really reflective of a party's membership base when their members and, well, a portion, a selection of them, and supporters of them are saying in my comments, "Oh, are you scared? You should be. Are you scared? Why? Please spell it out for me. Why would I be scared? Is there something about this party that I should know about? Is there something that you should tell me? Am I not seeing it? Oh, right, that thing that you keep telling people like me off about for claiming, but aren't you threatening it? It's just a very strange discombobulated time where the deniers are also the ones pointing it out. It's like, don't you dare tell me I'm wearing blue. Look at what I'm wearing. Look at what I'm wearing. This is a really, really strange time. So yeah, whilst I don't align with any party or ology as such, I'm definitely not a hater, and I'm definitely not here for anyone who's against justice or who's here to discriminate or to politicize and weaponize real human experiences. And as few key messages that I've sort of put out recently in sort of separate domains, we need to think more about those who are the most vulnerable in society, about those who are on the fringes, those who don't get the support that they deserve, instead of getting dragged into all these sort of power debates and all this socio political, actually it's more like culture wars. So I think we just got to regroup if we can, whether it's in person or offline, regroup, join up, and think about contributing, think about community, think micro, think macro as well. But I think we just got to bring it back to people who need help right now. And it's a good place to start, in my opinion, without all the hate. So what this space is definitely not about. It's not about hate. So I need to go now. The traitors are on, and X is calling me. Normally I'm like second screen viewing and I'm posting religiously while traitors is on, and I'm missing my audience. So I'm going to go do that. But thank you for this audience, and I will be back very soon. Remember, YouTube shorts are there, longer streams are here, videos as well, and I've got other offerings, so do check them all out. You might even enjoy my Substack, and I'll see you in the next one. But do subscribe. I'd love it if you did. It really helped me out. Take care. Have a lovely evening.